Hello and welcome to Bust or Trust, a kids' mystery podcast. I'm Tiernan.
And I'm Athena. Bust or Trust is the podcast where we unravel the world's greatest mysteries with help from you, our chief detectives.
We present all the best evidence and then ask you to decide. Which team are you on?
Are you a myth buster like me?
Or are you a myth truster like me? We look into all sorts of strange stories from around the world. No mystery is too big for us. Like, why do people say they slept like a baby, meaning they had a great night's sleep, when actually babies wake up all through the night?
But babies always look so youthful, so maybe that is the way to have a great night's sleep.
Good point. Anyway, we'll tell you at the end of the show just how to get in touch, so you can let us know if you're on Team Buster or the best one, Team Truster.
So, chief detectives, get ready to take notes and start putting together your case, while we have a quick word with the grown-ups.
Hi guys! I'm on the lookout for some brave, curious and silly explorers to join me on an adventure. Well, let's put it this way. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to bounce along inside a giant bubble? How about a hike in a tropical jungle? Or what goes on in a top secret superhero lair?
Watch out for flying underpants!
Is this a yes, yes, yes? I'm Connie, Chief Adventurer at Armchair Adventures, a super fun and a little bit bonkers podcast for kids aged 6 to 10. Each episode is a brand new adventure, and you're invited. What makes it super special is that I've jam-packed it full of sing and move-along fun. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Where will your next armchair adventure take you?
The case.
This week, we are looking at the case of the Mongolian Death Worm.
Yes, and that means there are some very, very big questions to ask.
Exactly. Like, does this creature, the death worm, actually exist? It's what's known as a cryptid, which is a creature that some people believe in, but there's no actual proof that it's real.
That wasn't the question I was thinking of. That one's easy. Of course it exists.
Or except it probably doesn't. But hang on, what is your big question then?
Which end of a worm is its bum and which is its head?
I'm not sure, but I do know there is a scientific way to check.
Do you have to ask it questions and just hope you're not talking to its bum?
No, I don't think that's it. Tiernan, please, let's not spend this whole case talking about worm bums.
Why? Because you'll never hear the end of it.
Or head of it. Oh, I don't know. Please tell the chief detectives what we do know about the Mongolian death worm.
Gladly. I'm squirming with excitement about this case. The Mongolian death worm is said to exist in the Gobi Desert, a huge desert area in North China and southern Mongolia. It is the 6th largest desert in the world, but it isn't sandy like other deserts are. It's said to be more like an area of exposed rock, and at times it can get very, very cold.
The Mongolian death worm is also known as Orkhoi Hohoi, which means large intestine worm because, as you can probably guess, people say it looks like a large intestine. That's the very long digestive organ in the human body, which is gross. It's believed to look like a very big red worm with purple spots. And it's said to be very, very deadly, shooting poison at anyone who comes near them. The creature first appeared in the writings of a man called Roy Chapman Andrews, who is now known as the real Indiana Jones because he was a real-life explorer and adventurer who also wore a fedora hat, just like the fictional character Indiana Jones does.
In his 1926 book, On the Trail of Ancient Man, Andrews said he heard about the death worm from Mongolian officials, and the legend has spread ever since, causing many expeditions to try and find it, and many theories about its existence.
The Mongolian death worm has captured many imaginations and inspired a lot of fiction, including creatures in Dungeons & Dragons, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and perhaps most famously, the very popular Dune films. But there is still no evidence to suggest it definitely exists.
Until now.
I'm not so sure. And as always, it's actually up to you, chief detectives, to decide. Does the Mongolian death worm exist or not?
And which end is its head and which is its butt? Where would you put headphones on it so it could hear this show? Are you on Team Bumster or Team Trustface?
Oh no, absolutely not. Now please, Tiernan, get a wriggle on and tell us the evidence.
All right. To the first piece of evidence.
First piece of evidence.
The first piece of evidence is the descriptions and details of the Mongolian death worm. Considering some people say this creature doesn't exist, there's a remarkable amount of information about it. A Czech explorer called Ivan Makerl took a number of expeditions to the South Gobi Desert, starting in June and July of the year 1990. While he was there, he collected as much information as he could from locals, and all the details matched up. Firstly, as we mentioned earlier, it's a sausage-shaped creature that looks a lot like a wriggly large intestine. It's said to be red with dark blotches all over and is over 1.5 meters long, or over 5 feet, which is pretty big and as thick as an adult's arm. It has no scales or eyes, mouth or any other noticeable features, a lot like an earthworm. But some accounts did say at one end it had pointy spikes. So that could be a pointy spiky face or a pointy spiky butt.
Tiernan, it doesn't matter what end is what if this creature doesn't exist, which it probably doesn't.
But if it doesn't, then why could Ivan Makerl find so much info about it? It wasn't just the description, but also its habits too. For example, it's said to mainly hide under the sands of the Gobi Desert, but in June and July it's found on the surface, particularly after rainfall, which is a lot like earthworms do. Also, it can often be found near where a certain yellow desert flower grows called a black saxel. And now here's the really not nice bit.
Oh, you mean the bit where it looks like a wriggling large intestine wasn't the worst bit?
No. It's called the Mongolian Death Worm because it's deadly for 2 reasons. One is that it raises one end of its body up, again, could be its butt or its head, and it squirts poisonous acidic yellow fluid at its victims, which burns their flesh and can lead to death. And then it's believed to also injure people and camels who walk on the ground above it. Hearing about this caused Ivan Makerl to believe the worms were either rising up to spike anyone passing over them, or that the worms may even have electric shock powers.
Honestly, what kind of creature shoots acid from its bum and has electric powers, all the while looking like an intestine? Oh, I'm not a fan of this death worm at all. If that's what it is, of course, and in fact, there is a good chance it isn't. As you mentioned, Tiernan, people say the worm can be found very near a yellow desert flower called a black saxel. Funnily enough, there is something else that can be found near these flowers too, and that's the very strange goyo plant. This feeds off the roots of the black saxel and grows in strange reddish-brown cigar shapes of exactly the kind that might just look like a Mongolian death worm emerging from the ground if you saw it from a distance.
OK, Athena, I can definitely see how someone might mistake a goyo plant for a Mongolian death worm. But goyo plants don't fire deadly acid at anyone walking past or shock them with electric powers. In fact, goyo plants are often used for healing high blood pressure and other conditions, so they're more like a Mongolian life worm.
But it could be that the details about what the Mongolian death worm does were just stories that were passed around so often that people started to believe that they were true. If it's a local legend, people will have heard about this creature a lot, and everyone will probably know the same details to the story. There are a lot of monsters in fiction, or that people have local stories about, and they often have very detailed descriptions. That doesn't mean they become anything more than a story.
You're right, and I do understand how stories work, Athena, and it does make sense that if a tale becomes well known, people do remember all the details in order to pass it on. But you may not be able to worm your way around piece of evidence number 2.
Second piece of evidence.
The second piece of evidence is the many sightings of the Mongolian death worm. And when you hear these, Athena, it's pretty clear these people didn't just see a goyo plant in the distance. In issue 36 of Animals and Men, a journal of 14 zoology, that means studying animals that may not be accepted by science or believed to have existed, there is an expedition report by Richard Freeman who searched for a number of strange creatures before, including the Yeti and the giant anaconda. This report, though, is about his trip with 2 colleagues to find the Mongolian death worm in May 2005. In the report, he mentions meeting several people who claimed they had seen the worm. In 1930, a 15-year-old boy saw it while tending to his cows. He saw a thick, long, reddish-brown creature wiggling about in the desert. He said it was sausage-shaped and kept moving side to side. And he went to tell his parents, who said he needed to keep away as it was deadly. A camel herder said he'd seen the death worm in 1950 when looking for some lost camels. He said it was brown, half a metre long, and with snake-like scales. He'd heard the death worm was dangerous, so he ran away without checking anything else about it. There's also a park ranger who'd not only seen one before, but on another occasion said he'd killed a death worm by throwing a rock at it. The park ranger insisted the body had been taken away by Russian scientists who were in the area studying snakes. There are more accounts too, so that is a lot of people that have seen it, Athena. The Mongolian death worm must exist.
These are all accounts told to someone who was searching for a strange creature and who writes for a magazine that is all about cryptids, creatures that no one has proof of the existence of. So there's probably some bias here, which is when the person hears what they want to match what they already think is true. But the other clue to what the worm might actually be is the Russian scientists in the park ranger's account who were studying snakes. There are some thoughts that the idea of the Mongolian death worm comes from the snake called the sand boa. They exist in the Gobi Desert and are orange with blotchy brown spots and can be chunky in shape and nearly half a metre long. They also burrow out of the ground. It's very possible that people saw sand boas and stories about them changed and became more over the top, and that's what people today think is the Mongolian death worm. In fact, a conservationist called Yuri Gorelov was investigating the death worm in the Gobi Desert in 1983. He was told about a nest of the creatures that had been found nearby, but when he went to investigate, Gorelov saw movement inside a burrow on the ground. Despite the people around him saying it was dangerous, he stuck his arm down the hole and pulled out a sand boa. When he showed it to the locals, they all said it was definitely an orgoy-hohoi, a Mongolian death worm.
Good theory, Athena, but sand boas are very well known in the area and aren't venomous at all. In fact, some people even have them as pets.
Oh, no thanks.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot you hate snakes. So really, you should be pleased the Mongolian death worm is a death worm and not a snake at all.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lose-lose situation either way. And unfortunately, snakes do definitely exist.
And the final piece of evidence will show you that Mongolian death worms do too.
Third piece of evidence.
The last piece of evidence is that the Mongolian officials have both acknowledged the death worm and also in later years banned anyone from talking about it. In Roy Chapman Andrews' accounts from 1919, he mentions meeting state officials to gain the correct work permits. But instead, one of these officials asked, "If it were possible that I should capture for the Mongolian government a specimen of the orgoy-hohoi." None of those present ever had seen the creature, but they all firmly believed in its existence and described it minutely. I agreed to keep an eye out and use metal tongs and protective goggles when approaching it.
But none of them had actually seen it. They'd just heard the same stories everyone else had. Rumours can spread very quickly, even among government officials.
But what's strange is that when the Mongolian Communist Party took power in the mid-20th century, they banned all talk about the Mongolian death worm and tried their best to convince people it didn't exist. Why would they put such a ban on talking about it unless they wanted to cover up its existence?
That doesn't make sense, Tiernan. They more likely wanted to ban any talk of it because the rumours about it had gotten out of hand and made people too scared to go into the desert. Public hysteria, when a lot of people get really scared or excited about something all at once, can be very harmful too.
OK, that does make sense, but I hope that secretly they were still sending people to try and find the death worm.
Do you know what?
Let me guess. You're about to say something about how pointless it all was because the death worm doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah.
No, actually. I think well done to anyone that got the job of having to track it down. That seems like really, really easy money to me.
So you think you can find it and maybe even destroy it?
I am your monster hunter. If the highly poisonous killer mushroom is roaming the swamps, I will be certain to find it and make sure it never poisons anyone, ever again.
Fantastic! We will provide you with anything you need, and I mean it, anything. If you need a team of 20 top scientists, if you need the top-of-the-range helicopters to get you there, just ask.
Really? Okay, I'll have all of those things, please.
I'll arrange that immediately, and good luck. That killer mushroom is no fun guy.
Please never say that again. There's nothing here, but that helicopter ride was fun. I wonder.
Well, is the killer mushroom no more?
Look, it wasn't easy. I scoured every bit of those swamps, which was, at times, disgusting. But, I definitely found it, and then I definitely toasted its mushroom face.
Remarkable.
Now, listen, boss. Word on the, street is that there's a rampaging giant lobster, that's it, terrorising the Bahamas.
Well, then you must stop it immediately. What do you need?
Well, it's only terrorising this very specific 5-star hotel with a lovely swimming pool. So I need 3 weeks of accommodation there and first-class flights, thanks.
Sure, if that's what it takes. Good luck. It sounds pretty shellfish to me.
Please stop, please. I'm sure there's a rampaging crustacean around here somewhere.
Another job well done.
Thanks, boss, but I just heard news that Funland Theme Park in Florida has a case of the vampire armadillos.
Oh, no. Whatever you need, you've got it.
Great. A 3-day pass, please. And can you buy the things so I don't have to stand in the queues as well? Great.
You've got it, champ. I'm sure tackling these armadillos will be a roller coaster ride.
That doesn't make sense. Woo! Take that! What did I say I was looking for again? Oh, I'm so tired. I need a little bit of time at home. Boss, all the other monster hunters are saying that right now there is a dinosaur at my home. That's right, an evil dinosaur.
Dinosaur? In your home?
Yes, it's not a very big one. Anyway, what I need is 3 weeks at home on the sofa, just chilling.
Oh, no, that's okay.
What was that?
We just blew up your home.
What?
Take that, dinosaur. Now who's extinct?
No!
Oh, I thought that one was pretty good.
Wow, so the real monsters are the people who go on holiday and pretend they're doing work.
Yeah, something like that. Of course, there's no time for our chief detectives to take a break.
That's right. It's time to decide. Does the Mongolian Death Worm exist, or is it just some funny fauna and sneaky snakes?
Recap the evidence, please, Tiernan.
Evidence recap.
Piece of evidence number 1 is the descriptions of the Mongolian Death Worm that all mention the same details. It's sausage-shaped, nearly a metre long, and reddish with brown splotches. It can also shoot acid and maybe even electrocute people.
But they are also described as being near a yellow desert flower, and there is another plant that feeds on its roots called a goyo plant, which looks very similar to the description of the Mongolian death worm.
The second piece of evidence is all the sightings of the death worm, mostly collected by monster hunter Richard Freeman in his report. They include a park ranger who said he even managed to kill one, but the body was taken by Russian scientists.
But these are all accounts given to someone who was looking for the death worm, so may have been biased. Not only that, but many think people have just seen the common sand boa that also lives in the Gobi Desert and thought it was a death worm.
The final piece of evidence is that the Mongolian government both asked for people to hunt the death worm and then, under different leadership years later, banned anyone from talking about it.
But that may be because they thought the rumours had got out of hand and were worried people might act irrationally or dangerously.
So now we're handing it over to you, Chief Detectives.
What do you think? Are you a Mongolian death worm mythbuster?
Or a Mongolian death worm myth truster? Get in touch and let us know your thoughts, and most importantly, which side you're on. I'm pretty sure our chief detectives will be wriggling over to Team Truster for this case.
No way. It'll be you burrowing your head in the sand tin, and when they all join Team Buster. Send us your voice notes with an explanation of why you're a myth truster or myth buster when it comes to whether the Mongolian Death Worm exists or not.
All you have to do is ask your grown-ups to help you email us your voice notes or thoughts to hello@bustortrust.com.
Tell us your name, age, what you think all the evidence means, and please make sure your grown-ups give us permission to use your voice notes or emails in our next episode.
You can also send us a question on Spotify Q&A, but please get permission from your parents and don't include any personal details so we can publish them safely. We won't always be able to use all of them.
But we do love to hear them, and here are some thoughts from you lot, our chief detectives, on the last few episodes.
Hello, I'm Vivian, and I'm from Michigan, and I'm 7 years old. A few days ago was my sister's birthday, and she turned 5. And I think that the Field of 40 Footsteps is fake because no one would be... I'm a buster on the Field of 40 Footsteps because I think it's fake because no one would be able to go, oh, 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 except for Santa. But I don't think that I don't think that anybody would be so mean to their brother or sister. And I'm a buster. Bye.
Vivian, I love that you have thought about the Field of 40 Footsteps and thought that it cannot be true, and you're on Team Buster because nobody could be so mean to a sibling as to want to duel with their brother or sister. And I think, look, it is lovely that you and your sister get along so well, but me and my brother would definitely have had a vicious duel, especially when we were little.
And your brother would have won.
Yeah, probably. Tatiana has a message about our episode on a Kiku, the doll with the hair that grows. And Tatiana says they are both Truster and Buster. Amazing. I'm not sure because people say the hair is from its dead owner, but it's logically impossible. And they should do the sailor outfit doll. His photos give me nightmares, so I'm both. I don't know which sailor outfit doll that is, but I can't believe there's an even spookier doll out there than a Kiku. Maybe they should hang out and spook people together.
Victoria has commented on our episode about the Sumerians and said, I really don't know, but I trust Athena. You know something? That's great advice. Trust Athena.
Nevin has said about our episode on the Kraken, the huge sea beast, that they are a truster. Athena, I don't think you can see large octopus's mirages, and so many sightings are bound to be true. Yeah, that's right. Nobody can see the mirage of a giant octopus, or maybe they can only see a mirage of a giant octopus if they've already seen a giant octopus. I'm not sure, but Nevin, I'm really pleased you're on Team Truster. Well thought through.
It is well thought through. Nevin has also commented on the Warminster thing, and Nevin has said, I'm definitely on Team Truster. In evidence 2, the picture could not have been a hoax, as technology was not fully developed enough for a person to generate an image and report it to the public. That is a really good way to analyse the evidence. I still think that when you look at all the evidence, you still have to be on Team Buster.
Nina has messaged on our episode about Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis, and Nina says she's a truster. I'm a truster because Poseidon literally told me, whoa, you can talk to Poseidon and you've got the evidence from Poseidon. Well, I think that settles it then. Thank you.
We might have to call Nina to be an expert evidence giver on one of our episodes because knowing Poseidon is a really big deal.
Really big deal.
Someone who just left a smiley face for their name, which is a great name, is a truster on our Jump in Church episode. This person said, I'm on Team Truster for this. Athena did not know, which means that she gave up, which means that Team Truster wins. Just for the record, I did think the evidence for trusting was very strong, but I haven't given up. I'm still looking for proper evidence to bust this case. I promise.
Woohoo, welcome to Team Truster, Athena. Thanks, smiley face.
You lot are brilliant. I think we make the best team.
We absolutely do. And if you enjoyed the show, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Amazon Music or wherever you listen to your podcasts for more great episodes. We love to hear what you think, so please do rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps more detectives find Bust or Trust. And of course, we'll read out some of your comments on the show.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for more Bust or Trust. Well, I hope that is the end of you asking which end of a worm is which.
I don't know, Athena. It might just be the beginning. It's very hard to tell.
You know, I do understand the problem.
See? It's a real serious issue, not knowing where a worm's butt is. What made you change your mind?
The fact I'm not always sure which end you're talking out of.
The cheek!
Exactly.